Morning all. Well, it's afternoon now. It's 12:02, so it's afternoon here in England. Good morning, everyone. I hope you're well, whether it's your morning, afternoon, or evening. Um, yeah, the ladies in the house are all going to go out today and have their hair cut at the hairdressers. So I thought to myself, why not do a show whilst they're all out? We're going out later as a family, and I just thought, yeah, kill a bit of time, do a show, and I did it as a members show because I haven't done one in a couple of months, and I just thought I would gauge opinion. Obviously, everyone's been watching Tottenham Hotspur as a club. Everyone's been watching other football as people like football, and just wanted to gather, see where people were, what their thoughts were. Feel free to talk about it all. So I've done a members show, but I did it, as I said, it's such a late call that I'm not sure. I'm not sure how many people we are going to get and how many people will appear. But yeah, if you're a member, the link would be in the community page, and you're more than welcome to come on. Um, I'll say hello to Mark. Mark Jones says, "Morning, my brother. Come on, you Spurs. Good morning. It's now good afternoon, but good afternoon to you, Mark. But if it's your morning, mate, then good morning to you." And look who's here. Afternoon, Jose and the Cockerel Posse from Drula. Hello, Drula. I hope you are well. I hope you are well. Um, yeah, there's a lot. There's been a lot going on, uh, and there's been a lot of nothing going on. Um, good, a good evening to you, Bella, because I think it's your evening, isn't it? So good evening to you, Bella. I hope you're well. And Mark says he's just woken up. God, long night. Every night work, was it work? Are you off and you just had a lying mark, or but whatever it is, I hope your body's rested and your mind is set for the day. um yeah, there's been a lot going on in the Tottenham world. There's a lot of rumor, a lot of conjecture. The only fact that we know at the moment is that tomorrow we have a game. um a lot of work, Mark. Yeah, works on. I'm off this week, you see, so I'm on annual leave this week, so therefore I can have lay-ins and stuff like that. Hello, Darren. Hello, mate. How are you? I hope you are well. Um, yeah, so I'm off work, so for me, I can have lay-ins and all sorts. But um, my Fitbit, which I normally wear, stopped working during the night. I didn't realise the battery had run low on it, so I'm putting it on the charge, and it says that I got up at 8:10 this morning. I didn't. I got up a bit later than that. Paul G's here says, "Good afternoon, Jose in the chat." Afternoon, Jose in the chat. Good afternoon, Paul. I hope you're well. Um, I hope you are well. Yeah, tomorrow there is a match. We have a match against Eintracht Frankfurt, which is the second leg of the Europa League quarter-final. Let's Dragon Guys is here, says, "Hi, Jose, and everyone. Hello." And there we got Ben's here. Afternoon, everyone. We are the followers. Good afternoon, Ben. I hope you are well, sir. So yeah, so we've got a game tomorrow, second leg. Whilst this is all going on, good evening to you, Kiwi Spurs TV. I hope you're well. I hope you're well. I hope Spurs can actually turn up after the last game. Shemtam, hello, Mr. Bossman Jose. I hope you're enjoying your week off and you haven't been scared since your guest appearance on that chaotic show yesterday. Um, I'll talk about the chaotic show in a minute, but for me, yeah, tomorrow we'll take it back. Let's take it back to the chaotic show. So a lot happened yesterday in the show. Obviously, it's not my show. It was somebody else's show, and they felt aggrieved about stuff that's been going on, and they decided they wanted to air it and get it sorted out. And by doing that, they invited the other person on, and the agreement was set. And I think it was done on screen. We all said on screen that if the other person comes on, then we would all shut up and we wouldn't say anything at all. we would just keep quiet and let the two protagonists duke it out. And we were respectful. We were respectful. We let them both get on with it. We never said anything whilst they were doing it, whilst they were both going together. We just let them have their conversation. We did not get involved at all. Not get involved at all. That, and we made the promise not to get involved, and we didn't get involved. I'm actually a moderator for that channel, and if people will go back and care to see or saw me yesterday, I actually kept putting in there, please be respectful to the two mentioned people, and let them dig it out between themselves. And I kept putting this over and over again so they could have their conversation. Now, the conversation was had between them both, and people who were watching, people who were commenting, people who are still watching it today will have their own views and their own opinions on it. It's been done, and it's been done, and they've had their conversations, and hopefully, one person whose channel it is, or show it was yesterday, has now, cleared his head about everything. I feel that maybe, it's possibly a maybe this won't stop and it may well continue, just knowing the other person. So yesterday, what happened is yesterday evening, the other person did a show, and I'm respectful. I went into the show. I said hello, and that, because I have no ill will to anyone. I said hello. I hope you're well. I hope you're rested, is what I said to the gentleman. And he then decided to call me out on his show yesterday and say that I was out of order because I said that he needed to seek mental health. So to that, in his chat, I said, where did I say that you needed to seek mental health? And he said that I said he did it for money. And so I put in the comments to him, well, I did say that you do it for money, because that's exactly what you tell people. If you tell people, I'm not friends with anyone on YouTube, I don't care about any of you, and it's a side hustle, I get money from it, and it helps me out. So I've not said anything untoward that he hadn't said in the past, and I explained that respectfully in his chat. And then he said about the mental health. So with that, I thought to myself, did I say that he had mental health issues? So I decided to watch back the stream that we were on yesterday. I did it last night. And when I watched it back, I actually talked about fans and him being, and this person being one of them, that is not seeing what the rest of us see on our decline on the football pitch. And I said he needs to seek help if he can't see it. He then accused, as I said, he said that I had said that he had mental health issues. So I went back respectfully and I said, look, I've just rewatched it, and I did not say at once that you had mental health issues. I said exactly what I'm saying now. All I said was that I did say that you need to seek help, but I meant it on a footballing reference, because I was talking about our decline, and that some of the fans can't see our decline, and that he happened to be one of them. And I said he needed help for it. So I don't think I was rude. I did say that if you felt, if you felt that I'd put him down anyway, I apologise if I've done something wrong. And to that, what did he do? He went and banned me. He went and banned me. And yesterday, when he came onto the show, I hadn't said a word, and he actually said that I'd become a turncoat and that I now followed Sava. So, at the end of the day, everyone can have their own perception and their own opinions. And that's one thing that I do say all the time. For people that watch me on other shows or watch me here, I turn around and I say it to everybody. I say to everybody all the time that everybody has opinions. And whether we share the opinions or not, everyone's entitled to have one. And, you shouldn't go at people because they have a different opinion to you. And, at the end of the day, there's no point talking about it. You've got to practice as you preach. You have to practice as you preach. Now, at the end of the day, I'd be very hypocritical, very hypocritical if I said one thing and did another. Yeah, um, that would be very hypocritical of me. And I believe that I'm respectful to everybody that I meet. I believe that I'm very respectful to everyone that I meet. And at the end of the day, yeah, okay. So we put ourselves on the screen, right? So we're there to be shot at because we put ourselves on the screen. So we've got to be a bit bigger than that if we're going to do it. And what I say to people all the time as well, and I continue to say it, is you may not know all the people that you interact with. You may not know whether you're positive to the people that you interact with, or that you come across negative to the people that you interact with. And on being on screen, you're not to know that. But at the end of the day, you've got to watch yourself, haven't you? Because what I do say to people as well is, if you watch content that triggers you, then unless you're a child, which you shouldn't be watching some of the content anyway. But unless you're a child, what you should be doing is just watch what you're happy and what you're content to watch. There's something that doesn't trigger you. You know, don't watch things that are going to trigger you. You know, and at the end of the day, and I say this to everyone: look, if there are many people out there that I disagree with. Yeah, sorry, I can't say I disagree. I don't agree with the points that they make and that, but I don't poo-poo them and shoo them for not agreeing with their complaints. Now, at the end of the day, I and I'll be honest, I sub to everyone, always sub to everyone, because it's a really hard road being on YouTube. So sub to everyone, show everybody advice. Show everybody love, sub to everyone, because it's a long hard road. Now, I'm sub to everyone. That doesn't mean I watch everybody's channel religiously. At the end of the day, I choose to what I want to watch. And at the end of the day, I think people, you know, do that yourselves. You know, do that yourselves. Watch what you want to watch, because if you watch what you want to watch, then you're watching what you're comfortable with. And at the end of the day, it is what it is. To me, I'm now from what he said yesterday, and from the comments that he made, and from what he did, where I was being respectful. I've now decided that he's not HH, he's now Triple H for me, and I'm not going to say I'll leave the third word to the third H to your own minds, but to me, he's now Triple H. So anyway, let me just go back, because I've said that. I mean, all you guys make your own assumptions, and that I'm not going to I'm not going to guide anyone in what to do and what not to do. You're all adult, you do what you want to do, and you take it from there. Just going to go and log into my other computer, because I've just noticed, and I've been rude because I've just talked. Right, I've just talked. Peter Kagayas has come in and he's gifted 10 channel memberships. And after all, this is a membership show. If you are a member, why is it not showing this? Well, it's not allowing me. What is going on? YouTube is not allowing me to show anything. Right, sorry, I can't bring my comments up. It's, for some reason, it's not allowing me to bring my comments up. So let me just say that Peter has kindly gifted 10 channel memberships. They've gone to Super Spurs TV, Gaza T, Chris Peters, Mark Taylor, Gamecock, Sleepy Mocker, Andy L. I'm really sorry about that. It did say to me, before I started doing the stream, it did say to me in the back in StreamYard, it did say that YouTube and StreamYard are having issues. They obviously are, because it just booted me off. Sorry, I was saying that Peter has gifted 10 channel memberships. Very kind. They've gone to Super Spurs TV, Gaza T, Chris Peters, Mark Taylor, Gamecock, Sleepy Mocker, Andy LUFC, PH Family, We Are Spurs TV, and Blitz. So if you have received a membership, then you need to thank Peter. You also have Ben, who's been a member for 5 months, flexing his member badge. And Shemtam, who's been a member for 4 months, says, come on, you Spurs. This is a member show. The link, if you want to become a member, is pinned. And then you can just follow the link and come on. Other than that, anyone that's already a member, you're more than welcome to come on. And we can talk this out. Or I'm just going to have to read the comments that you guys are putting on screen. Les Dragon says, I hope Spurs can actually turn up after that last game. Yeah, we're going to talk about tomorrow. Archer's here, says, good afternoon, Jose. Good afternoon, Archer. I hope you're well. Another member. You can come on, mate. You're more than welcome to do so. Philly says, big up, Jose, and everyone in the chat. Good afternoon, Philly, my man. I hope you are well. Mark Jones simply says that he enjoyed the show. I was simply referring to yesterday. Destiny says that he thinks that the chap needed to be held accountable because he's horrible. Mark says that's good what we did. Philly says, I agree. I saw that warning multiple times. I kept putting it in there because at the end of the day, it's not the Dukes wasn't mine, and it wasn't anybody else's. The Dukes belonged to the two people that wanted to sort it out between them both, or not, however you want to look at whatever happened. And it was down to them. Kiwi Spurs TV says, was it staged? WWE stars? No, it actually wasn't. It was not staged at all. As I said, we turned around and we said that if the other chap did come on, we would keep quiet. And that's exactly what we did. We kept quiet. Not one word was spoken about from anybody at all on that screen when the two of them were speaking to each other. Yet, if you believe what someone is telling people, the story is it was a pylon. Now, it wasn't a pylon. It was two people. There happened to be, who was on screen? Was there 3 others? Yeah, there was three others on screen at the time. So that would have been Elijah, Cookie, and myself, and we just kept quiet. And then it was the 2 protagonists. Once one of the people has left, because it seemed to be that was the end of it. Once one person left, then the people that were sitting in the back, who were guests, who were sitting in the back, who Saba did not allow on. He did not allow anybody on. The minute that Paul turned up, he never allowed anybody onto the screen. The minute that Paul left, then he allowed the guest that he had in the back to come on. And the show continued. So the show was talking about football beforehand. It then went down a different route because of the conversations that were being had. Mark Jones says, if we didn't get paid on YouTube, how many of them would still do the shows? Well, that's a hard one, Mark, because people do shows for a whole matter of reasons. There's a whole matter of reasons, and a lot of it could be, for health reasons. For me, and I can only speak for myself. For me, doing this, I've watched many shows. I started watching YouTube about 2.5 years ago. Very late to the party, me. Very late to the party. Being old and all that, you're not very with the new tech and the in crowd. Very streetwise I am, but not very in tech with the new crowd and all the new fans and that. So I came to start watching 2.5 years ago. I liked what I saw from what I started watching, and then from watching one content to another, I then found more content to watch. And at the end of the day, I just thought to myself, how hard would it be to start your own channel and give it a go? And if people go back 2 years and look at what I was doing, I couldn't even set up a show. I would just go live, and we'd go on for 4 and 5 hours. It used to be Chris Meta Football, myself, and Ellie. We'd just go on and just ramble and just have a chat about all things Tottenham, old days, new days, all sorts. Didn't have to set up a show, just set it up live, didn't know what we were doing, and just went and ran with it and enjoyed doing it. Now, from doing that, what I decided to then do is I got called out by Colin from Talk and Ball, who liked. I'd appeared, a couple of times when he put the links up and or did call-ins. I appeared a couple of times, and he said to me, liked what I had to say. He liked my vibe, or chilled attitude, and whatever you want to call it. And he just said to me, "Would you come and join me?" So and co-host with me. So I did that on his show. So I stopped doing anything on mine, did it all on his, and I did make a promise to Colin, that I always, for me, it was always about growing community, and it still is. But there's a lot of people that are in my chat that will attest to that. It's about growing community. They all know each other. They'll banter off each other and stuff like that. And I just turned around and said, at the end of the day, Colin, I will help you get to your 1,000 subs, because everybody that does YouTube, right, the be all and end all to become a YouTube partner, you've got to reach 1,000 subs. Once you've reached 1,000 subs, you've done it. For me, you've cracked it. You've done it. It's a level playing field. You've got 1,000 subs. Some people go on to get tens of thousands of subs. Some people go on to get I think you get a statuette or a plaque or something if you reach 100,000 subs. People do it for all different reasons. For me, I do it because I enjoy engaging and building the community. And for me, it's like the camaraderie that you get. And that's why I do it. It's not because of the money. It's the camaraderie that you get with people that you meet along the way. It's the same as when I play football 3 times a week. I'm 56 years old. I still play football 3 times a week, or attempt to play football, however you want to view it and look at it. And I still enjoy the banter. I go to play football. There's only a couple of Tottenham fans that I play with across 3 days. I play on a Monday, Wednesday, and twice on a Friday. So I actually play an hour on a Monday, hour and a quarter on a Wednesday, and I play 2.5 hours on a Friday. And obviously the people that you play with and the people you come across, they all support different teams, and it's the banter, if you miss a shot or you score a worldie, or you make a great save, or there's a foul, or, there's always banter. And YouTube's exactly the same for me. It's building a community and having that banter. So for me, my escapism, if you like, from work, because I work hard as well for my day job, but my escapism from work, so to speak, is doing this and playing football, and if you do this and you're going to get offended at every step of the way, then it's not the right thing for you to do, in my eyes. If I was offended all the time that I did shows or I appeared, then all I'd be doing is it'd be affecting my health, and then that would have a rub off and a knock-on effect on everybody else that's around me, and that would be my family, my friends. So at the end of the day, just do what you can do, and do what's right for you is all I'm going to say. Where's that banner I've got? Yeah, this is the banner that I always had. Please be real to yourself, support the team in your own way, and be good to one another. Come on, you mighty Spurs. That's a banner that I've had for life. From when for ages and ages, over a year or so now, I've had that banner always there. So that's what I believe that you need to do. Right, let me catch up with the comments because no one's come on yet. So Mike Pepper's here, says good afternoon, Mike. I hope you are well. Destiny says you did nothing wrong, Jose. Doesn't deserve an apology. I listen, Daniel, I could keep saying, if I offend someone, right, and they've been offended by me, I've not, and I haven't meant to offend you, but you felt that I've offended you, then of course I'm going to apologize, because I don't want to go out and I'm not offending anybody. So therefore, my apology to him was, if I've done something out and I've spoken out of turn, then I'm going to apologize for it. But as I went to his channel last night, respectfully, I just commented on there, and I felt that I hadn't done anything wrong to him, and I told him that. And from telling him that, never swore, never called him any names or anything at all. Just very respectful in what I said, and he banned me. So at the end of the day, it is what it is. Right, let me see this go down. Right, So Let's Dragon says, the only thing I agree with is that there is a lot of negativity about Spurs on YouTube. I agree criticism is fair, but carrying on and being toxic about the team or the club shouldn't be accepted. At the end of the day, people view their opinions in different ways, Let's Dragon. And, the people that view their opinions in different ways will say things in different ways, and they come across differently to other people. And, at the end of the day, I keep saying this, Let's Dragon, and I'll say this and I'll continue to say it. If you're watching content that triggers you, don't watch it. If you feel that anybody is negative or positive, then you have a decision to make. And that decision is yours and yours only. Listen, I won't go around and say to anyone, everything is toxic, everything is negative, because the facts of the matter is the club and the decline that we've seen, and that it gives content to a lot of creators. It gives content to a lot of people that are on what's XCOM. It's not something that they've made up. It's something. Now, if you don't like to hear the negative side of it, then don't watch. It's exactly what I do. If you don't want to hear it, don't watch. As I said, I think I'm quite moderate in all the channels I have. Sorry, in the channel I've got, I think I'm quite moderate. But at the end of the day, that doesn't mean you have to watch me because I'm moderate. I might not be your cup of tea. Because I don't go nuclear, people may not want to watch. Because I don't go super soft, then people may not want to watch. So at the end of the day, you watch, and I keep repeating this to everybody, just you're adults. Watch what you're comfortable watching. Mark, I will say hello to you in a second. I've lost the chat completely. I just want to catch up with the chat. So people are all talking about yesterday's show. Afternoon to Spurs fan John. Good afternoon. Good afternoon to Luke, who's here. Good afternoon, Luke. I hope you're well. Eli is here, says afternoon crowd. Good afternoon, Eli. I hope you're well. Where did I go? Says Chris Hagenbach. It did warn me when I came on today. The back end did warn me that there were issues. It did say that there were issues. Ben says, I will support our football club the way I wish to, and I will not tell others how to do so. I have my opinions and others have theirs. Freedom of thought is a wonderful thing. And it's exactly that. It's exactly that. Hello, Jackie. I hope you're well, mate. I hope you're well. Nice to see you. He's here. Says, hi, Jose. I hope you're well. I am. Good morning to Bobby. Well, this is a pleasant view first thing in the morning. Big up, Jose, and everyone in the chat. Bobby, I hope you are well. I hope you're well. Who else we got here? And before I say hello, Danny there. Bobby K says, yeah, that chat was horrible. That Bobby K guy was saying some nasty stuff. Right, Boise says, Hotspur show like a kiddie show. Like I said, people can take whichever way they want. People have their own opinions about what happened on the show yesterday, and at the end of the day, like I say, and I'll keep repeating this until it gets through to your heads. Only watch what you're comfortable watching with. Don't watch anything that provides you negativity in life or makes you turn. Just watch what you're comfortable with, because why would you go somewhere that harms you? Honestly, why would you go somewhere that harms your health? Don't do it. Don't do it. Right, James Flower. Good afternoon, James, sir. I hope you are well. I hope you're well. You're probably very, very busy, working and helping a lot of people out, James. David Clark's here, says hi to everyone in the chat. Hope you're all well. Sadly, I have to have my faithful dog put down on Monday. I don't think I'll ever recover. David Clark, that's a very, very sad thing to hear today. I feel for you. I have pet dogs as well. I've had to put some down in the past. My German Shepherds are now 9 years old. They have a shelf life of around 11 years. So I'm dreading it because I've a pair of them, and I'm dreading what happens to them in a few years' time as well. I feel for you, David Clark. They are your best friend. So I hope keep the memories, because that's what I do with all my dogs that have gone past. So John says, in the main, the YouTube community are really friendly and helpful to each other. Just a few that can't get on for whatever reason. Let me see if I've ever heard anybody else. Ronnie's here, says big up Jose in the chat. Bobby K, he's on it. He's on it from the minute he wakes up, isn't he? From the minute he wakes up to the minute he goes to bed, Bobby is on fire. He's on it. I only joined YouTube to share a screen. Bobby, you are rampant. Kiwi Spurs says, sorry, Jose, nearly midnight here in New Zealand, but I'll jump on a show that's in the evening, your time sometime. Kiwi, you're more than welcome. As I said, mate, we messaged each other, and you're more than welcome to do so. Yeah, I'll think about doing another one in the evening and getting you on. Right, let me see. Who else is it? Mark, if we're winning, yeah, he says, look, if we're winning games, this stuff would not be happening. It's true. Glenn Cornwall says the fans are just a reflection of what the team are showing them on the pitch. It's exactly what I said. It's exactly what I've just said. Carl Simpson says some would say are showing more than the team itself. You've got a good morning, Mark, from Mark to you, sir.
Mark Army.
Mark. Yeah, Philly says, yeah, I agree that if someone feels something is negative, don't watch it. As I said, you're all adults, and I'm not going to tell anybody what and what not to do. But I just think it's common sense, guys. If there's negativity or you feel negative about something, then why put yourself in that position? Just don't watch. Don't watch who you find negative. Just don't watch it. Ghosty says, big up Tel and everyone in the chat. Young Finn's here, says, good morning, guys. Good morning, Finn. I hope you're well. Let me see. I'm nearly done. Side Dancers here. Says, hi, everyone. Mark says, I come onto these shows for support around this shit football my team are playing, and it hurts. Right. Sheriff, Mark, cousin,
yes, mate.
The one and only. Mate. Good afternoon, sir. How are you, mate?
All's good, mate. I'm bloody knackered. I just had the grandson.
You just had a what?
I've just seen my grandson.
Oh, okay. So he's giving you the runaround, Mark.
Oh, Christ, yeah. I took him out the park, man. Jesus. I'm too old for that now. Far too old. All that running about and watching him constantly. No, man. No, it's all good. How are you anyway, Jose?
Yeah, mate, I've done this like really late. I only put this up an hour ago. I paid for my wife and my daughters to go and have their hair done at the hairdressers to get everything done, and they've gone to do that. And whilst they're doing that, I thought to myself, what am I going to do with myself? And I looked around and I didn't see any shows happening. So, you know, when I looked around, there wasn't any shows that I could see that were happening. So I thought, do you know what? We'll come and I'll do a members show. We'll shoot the breeze. I haven't done one for 2 months, which is quite poor of me because I used to do them. Well, I used to be excessive. I used to do them on a weekly basis. So I used to be excessive.
Yeah.
So why don't we just do one? So I cobbled this together just over an hour ago. Well, we've been going half an hour. So about an hour and a half ago, and thought to myself, right, let's get on, see who wants to come on and talk and have a chat. And as I said, anything's open, just respect each other's opinions. So that's where I am.
That's what we say.
And I'm going out with the family afterwards. So when they finish with the hairdressers, I'm going to take them all bowling because we do love a bit of bowling. We're very competitive. Me, my wife, my daughters. So I'm taking them bowling after that. So yeah, at the end of the day, the one thing I will say, and I say it all the time, sorry, Mark, to people is that apart from YouTube, I do have a real life, and
we all have.
It consists of work and it consists of my family. So to me, the reason why I stay moderate is that I've got other things around me that keep me occupied, and I'm not consumed by my club. So, or I haven't been consumed by my club. Sorry, Mark, go on, mate.
No. I completely agree with you. Football's just, we all support the same team. If they do well, we all cheer. If they don't do well, we don't cheer. As far as the YouTube thing goes, right, if you don't like something, don't watch it. Simple as that, isn't it? you know, like I used to subscribe to Lord knows who. Lord knows who. If I saw a Spurs thing, but I had to call it, I just can't keep up watching it all. You know, like,
Go on.
honestly, I just cannot keep up watching it. You know, I got other things to do rather than like sit watching like YouTube all day.
Yeah, like I said earlier. I don't know whether you heard what I said earlier, but I'm subscribed. I subscribe to absolutely everyone because I know
Yeah, I
what a
used
hard,
to.
I know what a hard no, but I know what a hard road it is, and it doesn't mean that I
Yeah,
have to watch. Mark doesn't mean I have to watch, but I will subscribe to anyone because giving someone a subscribe is important to that person who's
well, of
creating
course it is. Yeah, yeah,
whatever
yeah,
path,
yeah, yeah.
whatever path they're looking to go. It's important to the people that you get. The hard Mark, you started a channel not long ago, and the hardest thing is you know how much hard work goes into doing shows and whatever.
Yeah,
And at the end of the day, all you want and all you look for is a bit of appreciation. You know,
exactly.
is it kind of guide you? Am I on the right track or not? You
Yeah,
know, why am I on the right track or not? You know, if I'm doing the right things, people will tell me in the comments. If I'm doing the wrong things, people will tell me in the comments. People will give me advice on maybe try doing this, maybe try doing that. You know, and then you know by people subscribing or people liking your videos or people commenting while you're doing your shows, it gives you that bit of that push.
yeah,
You know, yeah, I'm on
yeah.
the right track, or no, I'm not on the right track. You know, so at the end of the day, I
Oh,
think subscribers are important, and I subscribe to everybody. Tottenham shows, food shows, bloody other football team shows. I subscribe to absolutely everything because I know that it's important for people to have these
yeah,
subscribers.
yeah.
Now, that doesn't mean that I wouldn't have the time in the day to watch everyone that I
No,
subscribe for. Now,
no.
if there are people that are on, I might flick it on, even when I'm at work. I might flick it on, and when I flick it on, and someone's on, I may not be able to comment, but I'll hit a like. And
Yeah,
if
yeah,
I am
yeah,
able to comment, because I might just say afternoon panel and chat, come with your Spurs or whatever the case may be. It's just supporting people,
yeah,
you know.
yeah, yeah,
And I
yeah.
think it's important to that everybody gets supported.
Well, when I
That's
say
why.
I had a, well, when I say I had a call on like YouTube, it's not that I'm not subscribed. It's just the fact that I don't watch it as much. And just to
Yeah.
answer Bobby, I seen you put a comment in. Grandson is now 15 months.
And he's already giving you the runaround at 15 months.
Oh, he's running around all over the place, mate. Honestly, honestly,
I
honestly.
I
But thankfully, he got tired running around in the park and fell asleep in his pushchair. So that was excellent.
I remember taking my daughters and my son and my wife. We all went to the Gran Canaria, and
Yeah,
the girls were just under they were probably just under 18 months of age. I think the girls. It's the first time we'd ever taken them away, and then we stayed in these villas, and it was like a private complex. It stayed in these villas, and it had pathways. So when you came out of your villa, it had different pathways, right? And because, like you said, they start getting about one went out when you open the door. One would go that way, and the other one would go that way. And your arms, you're not Mr. Stretch from the Fantastic Four.
yeah,
Your arms were like, who do I go for first? You're stuck. You're like, oh my god, which one do I chase
yeah,
first? Because they're both gone different
yeah,
ways. So I used to have to get my son, or well, my son was there, thankfully, and my son would run after one, and I'd run after the other. And life has got even more hectic because now they're 18-year-old girls that are going on 30, and they drive me absolutely radio rental. But I wouldn't wish it any other way.
No, 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 no. Of course not. I've just seen Bobby K's last comment as well. Time
Yeah, 15
flies.
months at time flies. He's been going to the pub with you for 8 months now.
No, I don't go
the,
to the pub anymore. I
the
do not go to the pub anymore.
The reptile keeper, it says football is the working man's escape from responsibility for a few hours, and seeing your team struggle every game, fans will show their feelings.
Yeah.
And it has been. I mean, it is. Come on, let's be honest. You know, Tottenham have been very, 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 very poor for a considerable amount of time, and
It's
of
felt
course
like a
that,
curse. It's felt like a curse
yeah,
supporting this team.
and it's going to reflect. It's going to reflect on, well, I suppose it's going to reflect on a lot of people. as I said, for me, I'm disappointed after the games. I'm disappointed, but my disappointment probably lasts about 15 minutes, and then I get on with my life and I do other things. There are other people out there that probably got invested a lot more emotion and time into the club than what I do. Doesn't make me any less of a supporter, but just as a grown adult, I take things and my emotions are different for different things, and I just don't go Garrity about the club. At the end of the day, they've let me down again. They've let me down again. Simple.
Yeah.
To me, Mark, you know my thoughts. Mark, I know your thoughts as well. There are a lot of things wrong at Tottenham, and there's a lot of things that need to change, in my opinion. Some things more than others, and I know which side you lean to already.
If you want me to get me flagged, mate, it's behind me.
Go on then, get your flag. I don't mind. Get your flag. Where's your flag? Go on, Mark. Would it be yellow in colour? There we go. Change for Tottenham, says Mark. Look at that. He's got a nice big yellow flag. Yeah, and in all honesty, Mark, you're quite right. And what these guys have done at Change for Tottenham is absolutely impressive. It must take a hell of a lot of work. And it doesn't matter how many people you have in your team working on it. It must take a hell of a lot of work to get everyone up and running, to try and keep these things away from prying eyes, so to speak.
Yeah.
Or if you are going to put it out in the public, to do it in such a way which is respectful and that it's not going to cause distress and alarm, and which means that you can get on and do what you want to do. And that is have the peaceful protest. And that is to, voice your opinion, because you are either a paying person that goes, or you have invested your time and your life into this club, whether you're going to the games week in, week out. You've invested a lot of emotion and a lot of time. And at the end of the day, if your club, it's anybody, it's not just Tottenham. If your club doesn't meet your expectations, then of course you're gonna have to do something about it. And it's very impressive how Change for Tottenham have gone about and done this, and raised the movement, raised the profile, and and advised and guided people who were going to protest, advised and guided them. This is where we're going to meet. This is what we want you to do. This is what we don't want you to do. And you've been guided every step of the way. And I think it's absolutely impressive what they've done. And at the end of the day, you have a right, regardless of where you are in the world. You have a right. If the club's not operating and not working the way you see it, then you have a right to do so. And I think it's super impressive. Go on, sorry.
No, right. I was obviously at the last protest, and you took tying this in with the YouTube stuff. I just thought I'll document my journey. Make a few shorts. I thought the first one I did, because when you do it on your phone, it's either 15 seconds or 3 minutes. So I thought I had to speak for 3 minutes, right? So I just spoke a load of garbage, really, just gabbled away at the train station, going to Niger's. But then when I got there, he said, "Oh, no, you can stop it and post that bit." I was like, "Oh, I didn't know that." But anyway, right, I thought they were the biggest load of garbage ever. Right, I stuck them all on the channel. One of them got like 1,500 views. I was like, "Well, that was rubbish, man. It was only me, like, just talking a load of gibberish." But like, it's weird how YouTube works, because I was on Beyond the Lane last night with Danalist and Nige, and Cookie was on there as well, and I thought we had a really good show. Me and Mark have done. I thought that was a really good show, But you look at the views and it's like nothing, or a few hundred, and you think, But then you do one, you think, oh, that didn't go so well, and it's got thousands, and you think, well, it's a hard sort of ship to navigate, YouTube, Because sometimes you make things that's absolute, you think personally, that's absolute garbage. I know I've done it. And it gets like thousands of views. But then you make something, you think, oh, that was really good. It gets hardly any. And you think, I think it depends what mood people are in. You know what I mean?
At the end of the day, yeah, views are good. Views are nice.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you want that because,
Yeah, of course you do.
in all honesty, right? I mean, we're not the big guns. We ain't the big conglomerate channels
No, Christ, no.
that you've got out there. There are monsters that you're competing with.
Yeah.
But all you're trying to do, as you said, navigate. You're trying to find your own little way, trying to find your own little niche area. I keep saying, and I say it all the time, I know what lane I'm in, and I stay in my lane. Say this all the time, tongue in cheek. And at the end of the day, you appreciate everybody along the journey.
Yeah,
You do. You appreciate everyone along the journey.
And this is only my experience, but can I say, like, everyone I've met in the YouTube community are like really friendly, really good. Like, we've had so much help with our channel. Because I'm not being funny. Like, I'm like the worst with technology. I thought I was absolutely rubbish. Like, I ain't got a clue.
And then you call me, who's even worse with technology.
And then
you used to message me, didn't you? About
how do I do this? How do I do that?
Why are you asking me?
Yeah, well, because you got your own channel, man. Yeah, I thought I thought you know.
I did. No, I gave you the answers, but I used to think, so why are you asking me? It's not just you. People ask me, and I'm just like, really? And okay, there are some things I do know, but I'm not going to turn around and say to you that I'm technically minded, because I ain't.
No, Jesus Christ, man, I'm the worst ever. Right, but then me and Cookie started doing our show, and now I thought I was bad. Right, but no, love him to bits, but like he is terrible, man, with technology.
So your partner's in crime in more ways than one.
Well, we are because every show we do, I think, now please don't press nothing wrong here. Please don't click on something wrong. It's just. But after a while, to be honest, it just sticks in your brain. Right, if you do something wrong, right, let's not press that bit again. But like, there's a lot of people in the YouTube. I give shout out. Sava has helped us amazing amount. Perchy, another one. He done like the thing that's behind me. He sorted that out for us. Ben and Kuva sorted out our intro. So many people have helped us. And all you got to do is.
I might need to tap into Ben and Kuva for their creativity, and Bobby K for their creativity. And or if I gave them an intro to do for me, I think all the intros they do for people are completely funny. And on point for everybody. And but I'd have a bit of trepidation, thinking to myself, God, what would they do for me? But then that whatever they did, you'd love it. Do you know what I mean? So
I'll be honest with you.
People. There are. I'm going to agree with you wholeheartedly. There are fantastic people out there. And people. Sorry, Mark, but what people need to understand is that away from YouTube, in all honesty, most of the conversations that I have with people that are YouTubers away from YouTube are not football related.
No.
So the conversations I've had with you have been about, and I'll be honest, have been about how to set up. How do I do this? How do I do that? Not once have you said to me, or we've called each other up and talked about football. We never. And that's what I try to get to people. Be away from this. And I was saying this on Sava's show yesterday. I thought about it, and I said yesterday, Sava, but I'm thinking about it. 99.9% of the time that I've spoken to you away from YouTube, it's been about life and about about life. And I'm not going to tell people what the conversations are, but it's been about life. And I've never I've never had a call and had a chat and asked for a football opinion. And I don't do that with people. Do you know what I mean? Because people need to understand YouTube is one thing and the real life is another. And that's where you've got to distinguish both. Sorry, Peter Kagayas has gifted another 5 channel memberships. Very kind of you, Peter. These have gone to Hot Fuzz, Philly, Steve Riformato, Nate Pye, and Rich C. 2 of these people I saw in the chat earlier. So if they're still about, you've now become members. If you're a member, you'll be able to see the membership link. And if you want to come on, you're more than welcome to do so. You've got Claire G says, yes, Levy out, and then says, was at the last protest. So Claire was at the last protest. Well done to you, Claire.
Yeah.
David Clark says, just to say that my dog was Lorky, which is a cross between a LHASA Apso and a Yorkshire Terrier. We had him 9 years from a puppy. Like I said, my heart goes out to you, David, because I know I've been in the position before, and yeah, it's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking having to put a pet down, whether it's a dog, cat, whatever it is. But me, I'm a dog man. So Mark Jones says, and you know what pisses me off as well, when people say I'm a season ticket holder, like fans who don't have one are less of a fan. Everybody supports their team. Like it says here, be real to yourself, support the team in your own way, and be good to one another. Mark, my banner says it all, mate. Ghosted. Short form content is key on YouTube, guys. I have a history channel, and the shorts I make get the most views. And people say this. People say all the time, and I'm late to the party, but people say all the time that YouTube is really for shorts, and that there's another. I can't remember what the other channel is, but there's another channel.
Big Up.
No, it was before Big Up. There was another one that used to be bandied about before Big Up that said that's where you need to do your live shows. James says you have to be yourself, and everything will follow for there. Couldn't agree more, James.
Yeah. Well, I was just going to add on to that. When me and Mark first set our channel up, we both said, if I had to come on, if we were doing a show, or if I had to come on here and say lies, you know, and talk things that I didn't believe in, right, I wouldn't bother doing it. I said, he's just in the chat now. I can see his message. Big up, mate.
I'm just going to go.
Yeah. But I said to him, when we started this, I said, look, we'll just say it. I said, you say what you like. Obviously, you got to mind the language a little bit. You know, it's not like we're down the pub.
It was a great program.
Yeah, but
sorry.
Mud in the pub is normally when I'm drunk on a Saturday. But like,
Mind Your Language was a great program. That's what I was.
Oh yeah. I used to watch that when I was a kid, obviously. Yeah, but like I said, you know, if I had to go on a show and I said anything that I truly 100% did not believe in, I wouldn't go on there. Everything I say about Tottenham and that I honestly 100% believe in. You know, I'm not just going to sit there and say some sort of waffle because it might just get us a few more views and likes and all that. No, this is only a hobby for me doing this. You know, I just come on here to get my frustrations out about the team, you know?
Yeah.
You know, and that's it, you know, because let's face it, Jose, none of us get paid for it. I don't know whether you do, but we certainly don't, not at the moment.
I pay out more because I've gone out and I've gone and got a subscription on X and stuff like that to see whether it'd help me out more on that. I'm not technophobe, so I'm on X. I don't really do much on X, and I pay a pretty penny. I don't know what I get for the pretty penny I pay for. And then StreamYard, it costs so much money. It's so dear. It's become so dear, StreamYard. But you know, at the end of the day, you've got a choice. Either you carry on doing it or you stop. I enjoy what I'm doing at the moment, so I will continue.
Well, I'll be honest, Jose. I'll be honest. On our channel, as you see the StreamYard logo when we go live, we don't even pay for ours. We got the free one.
I know. I pay.
Yeah, I know. But it's what was it, like £7 a week or something like that, isn't it?
Oh, I don't pay. I pay a hell of a lot more than that.
Yeah, but it works out about is it 300 odd quid a year if you want to upgrade it?
More than that. It depends what package you get. I'm on a higher package than that, so I pay.
You're on the highest one then.
I pay a hell of a lot more than that. It just it's madness. But anyway, let me just catch up. The Spurs podcast.
Yeah.
I stopped with YouTube as it becomes a full-time job, trying to keep up with everything. And now we have so many channels pumping the same old stuff, it becomes boring after a while. Again, as I said before, watch what you're comfortable with, and don't endanger yourself in any way, shape, or form. Watch what you're comfortable with. If something's not your flavour, don't watch it, because all it's going to do is going to agitate you. So just watch what you're comfortable with. David Clark says, I'm not interested in Spurs podcasts, which are aided by the club. Mike Pepper says, the next protest is against Palace. Make sure you all turn up. And Mark Jones is telling Mike Pepper that he will be there this time. Claire says, they're all great guys. Yep. Bobby Kane says, anytime, Jose. Claire says, met Brian Daigle and Stella at the protest and gave them a hug. It's very nice.
Didn't give me a hug.
Leo says, Elton the Sheriff. Good morning to you, Leo. Leo flies over today. I spoke to Leo yesterday and wished him safe passage. And I hope that he has a really good week here. Mark,
get on the Lagos, homie.
Mark Jones says, really disappointed with how Ant has been dealing with our young Spurs Academy ones. Here he is. The Cookie says, big up Jose and the Sheriff. And then you've got people saying like each other, God, Mr. Peters. Mr. Peters is here, says, afternoon, Jose and the Sheriff. Good afternoon, Chris. I hope you are well. Dan says, exactly, keep it real and authentic and never lie about the football club.
Yeah.
And Mark, the Cookie, says, just to confirm, he says, I think this is the comment you're referring to, Mark.
Yeah.
Mark says, we will always say it how it is and what we believe. It's who we are, mate, and out.
Exactly.
Chris Peters is thanking Peter Kay for the membership. Yep, and I thanked Peter as well. So, with that being said, we've got a game tomorrow. Sorry, let me go back a step. Right, forget about the game tomorrow. I'll come to that in a second. Although that on yesterday's show that I was on, that was a question that we'd got to before everything happened, and then we never finalised the question. So maybe there's a show tomorrow to be done to finalise that question.
We're on tonight, mind. I'll just promote that immediately. We got a show tonight, 8 o'clock, talking about all that.
There you go. You heard it here first. The two Marks show have a show tonight at
8 o'clock.
8 p.m. tonight. So
if I can find, well, I can mess about here and find the link for it if you want.
Yeah, you're more than welcome to. You can put the link on anyway, can't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can put up the link anyway. There's a lot of chat if you follow social media and stuff. There's a lot of chat at the moment about the manager. Now, for obviously people at different shapes, forms, and guys have checked out or had enough or have reached certain thresholds with the club and everything at different stages. Now, for the last 18 months, if you look at facts are one thing. The eye is another thing. There's a lot of different things you can look at, a lot of different metrics. But the one thing I will say is that recently, in the last few days and weeks, on X, it's really, really ramped up to when you're getting the tier ones all coming out now and saying all about the manager, and that there's a list, and that Tottenham are speaking to other clubs, other managers' camps to see whether they're up for it or not up for it, and that. So to me, looking outside in, there's no smoke without fire, and no. I've never ever seen anything or the traction pick up at speed as it's done now. And to me, the manager obviously is gone. Don't get me wrong, Mark. I want to win tomorrow night. I really do want to win tomorrow night.
We all do.
I want to win a trophy. But even with winning a trophy, my belief now firmly is, even if we won a trophy, my belief is the manager's gone. And there's too much. There's too much in there at the moment that tells me that he's gone. Now, whether he walks or whether they move him along, I just think the manager is gone. And for that reason, at the moment, there's a list that's being drawn up of managers. Obviously, you must have heard. If you don't do X, you must have heard about the list. But just before we talked about that, you've got Mr. Daigle. It must be very early in the morning for you, Mr.
No,
Daigle.
he's in this country.
Oh, he's over here. Oh, do you know what? Sausage
Yeah.
sandwich. Yeah, that's right. He was over here.
Yeah, of course he is.
His
Yeah,
nephew's
I met him at the
birthday.
protest.
Yeah, it was his nephew's birthday. And yeah, the protest, you can't miss him with the thing on his forehead.
Yeah. And this time a week tomorrow, there's a load of us going to Ben's coffee shop. And I hope Mr. Daigle's going to be there and we're going to meet up, spend the day. I'm staying the night in London. Cookie, right? He lives up by Manchester. It's cheaper for him to fly rather than get on a train. Can you believe that?
Yeah.
He's flying from Manchester Airport into Heathrow.
Yeah, but it takes longer than a train.
No. It's only about.
Yeah, but you have to go right out, Mark. If it was as the crow flies, right? So let me just say, right, it says, good afternoon, everyone in the chat and the lads on screen. I hope you're all well. All roads lead to Frankfurt, and it's truly all or nothing. Come on, you Spurs. Couldn't have said it for better myself. I hope you're well, Brian. I hope you are well, mate. So, yeah, all I'll say is that, right, you have to get to the airport to check in. So that's all. That's your time, but before you get the flight, then you jump onto the flight, and the flight probably takes an hour and a bit, right?
No, 50 minutes, I think.
Yeah, but it shouldn't, right? Because it's such a short flight, but because of all the other planes up in the air and that, they put you on a taxiing system, don't they? Up in the air, right? Really, flight-wise, if you were to fly from Manchester to London, in all honesty, as the crow flies, it's probably 15 minutes. That's it.
Yeah.
But all the faffing about you got to do and all the waiting around and the circling you got to do, right, makes that journey longer than what it should be. Then you get off at the other end and then you have to come through passport control and stuff like that. Even if you're not bringing much luggage with you, you still have to get through all that rigmarole. So at the end of the day, yeah, cheaper it may well be, but I just question, the length of time it takes, because it takes longer than what it should do. I used to fly up to Scotland. I used to fly up to Inverness for work on a daily basis. I used to get the first BMI out of Gatwick to go up there. And from Gatwick to Inverness would probably take about 35 minutes on a straight run if it was as the crow flies from point to point. But with all the faffing about and that, it ended up being nearly a 2-hour flight. You can get to Spain in 2 hours.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So, but anyway, that's where we are with that. So you've got, Brian's here. You've got a lot of people saying hello to Brian, and it was lovely to meet him. Silver's a front runner, according to Drula. Do you have Patriots here? Sorry, let me say hello to Patriots. Says big up Jose. He would be sacked today, isn't it? I'm not sure. I just think the inevitable was going to happen, Patriot. Like I was just saying, the inevitable will happen. But Mark, without being influenced, right? Who is your type of manager that you would like to come into the club? And is it just a manager we need, Mark, or do we need more than just a manager? Loaded question.
Yeah. Well, first of all, any manager that comes to us, I feel sorry for them, because immediately they got one hand tied behind their back by the glorious chairman. I say glorious in inverted commas. Because you look at, I know every Sharman, I keep mentioning his name. You look when Pochettino was here and how close we were.
He's beating you to it, look.
No, there we go, see? Yeah, he knows. Everybody knows. I do want Poch to come back, but I do not want Poch to come back whilst Levy's here. Because let's face it, he handcuffed him the last time. He wouldn't support him when we were that close to winning league titles. We're not talking about an FA Cup, a Carabao Cup. We're talking the big one, the league title. We were within touching distance of it, and he never got the backup. The stadium was more important. It was just unfortunate that time that, all the money, well, it wasn't even our money, was it? But everything was tied up with the new stadium that was being built. them last few years at White Hart Lane, the old White Hart Lane, that can I say was 10 times better than the new stadium. You know, but that crippled us. It really did, because we were that close to winning the league. We should have won it twice. The Leicester season and the year after, the Chelsea season. See, I haven't been on a show with Bob. Well, Bobby don't do nothing on his channel anymore, so that's why I haven't been on there.
Mark likes Poch. Wow, when did he have a change of heart? I never knew he liked Poch. No one knows.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah.
So,
but we need, personally.
You want him to come back, or because you said you do want him to come
he's
back?
not coming back, is he? Because
then you don't wish him to come back.
Well, I'd love him to come back. I honestly would. But for a start, he's leading one of the home nations out in the World Cup next year. And I know everyone's got a price, but like he's not gonna, because it's Canada, Mexico, and USA, isn't it? Next World Cup.
Yeah.
And he's one of the home nations. He's not gonna want, that's like the highest thing if your management like ladder, you know, leading a team into a World Cup. You know, so I don't think he's gonna give that up. Right, if we really wanted him, I expect, well, Daniel Levy would plead poverty as usual and not do it. But like, I'd like someone like him. That Iriola bloke at Bournemouth, he reminds me of him. You look at the size of Bournemouth. For, you know, I'm not being disrespectful to Bournemouth running down a road at me. I don't want their fans knocking on my door. But you know, you look at the size of Bournemouth, the football club. You know, without being disrespectful, it's a miracle they're even in the Premier League. You know, their whole ground fits in our south stand. You know, so, and the resources they got there, look what Eddie Howe did with them. Look what Iriola's doing with them. You know, a team like Bournemouth should just be thankful to be in the Premier League, and they should take 17th every year. But no, I don't know where Bournemouth are now, but they're certainly not 17th, are they? What, they halfway up? Up near the top? Well, they're bound to be above us, most teams are.
Were you asking where are Bournemouth? I'll tell you now. Bournemouth's currently sitting 8th position.
Well, there we go.
They beat Fulham 1-0, so they've gone equal on points, but above them on goal difference.
Yeah, I'm not being nasty. But a team like Bournemouth, with the resources they got, with the size of the club, they should be sort of complacent with 17th every year. Just stay in there. You know, I'm not being disrespectful, you know, but they don't. You look, Eddie Howe took them up through the divisions, got them into the Premier League. It might not have been him, it might have been, well, whoever. But you look at what Iriola's done to that team, and they have more injuries than us, and they haven't got as talented squad as us. Look where they are.
Right, so 2 questions, Mark. You're answering one of them at the moment, and I'd like people in the chat to put in who in your opinion and why would you want as your next manager, right? Because you never was going to happen. And 2, right? And this is a second question for you, Mark. Is have you? Sorry, I'll give you the second question. Have you named the manager that you want to come yet?
Yeah, I'd just like somebody. I'd like Poch, but he's not leaving America. He's not leaving the USA. He might after the World Cup next year. So at the end of next.
So there's been chat that it will cost 12 million. There was chat about a month ago that to prize, because he's the manager for the USA, that if you wanted to prize Poch away from the USA job, and or get him to do dual role or whatever, it would cost you 12 million. You'd have to pay America, USMT or whatever they're called. You'd have to pay them 12 million to get him to your club now. Similar reports are coming out on X, and how people know this, I don't know, but people are coming out and saying that Iriola, to get him out of Bournemouth, would cost Tottenham 11 to 12 million. So basically, if it was down to money, you're talking about if it's correct. So please don't shoot the messenger.
Yeah,
I'm only saying what I've read on X. then similarly, either Poch or Iriola are the same kind of money to bring in. That's what I'm going to say.
Yeah. Well, to be honest, right now, welcome to the dark side anyway, Jose. You're now Ange out. I've been Ange out for ages, as you know. I've always been saying he's the worst manager I've ever seen at my football club.
It's not.
And I saw us get relegated.
For me, it's not just Ange out, though, Mark. I've said that I think there's about 6 different areas of the club that have got to take a piece of the pie on this. Ange just happens to be one of them. I'm going to ask another question, though, apart from when I get your manager, right? Because I'm reading some of the comments and I will catch up with managers. I've got another question for you and for the chat once I've got your manager.
I want a manager that's going to actually coach a team and not play, because Ange, he might be a lovely guy, but he's not for me. He's not for me, because a good manager will go into a club and see the tools he's got and fit the way the team plays with the tools he's got. Ange doesn't do that. He's got his system, all this inverted nonsense, this and wingers and all this stuff, but we haven't got the players to do it. Now, if he adapted, because I've said it on many, many shows, Sonny and Brennan Johnson have never been wingers in their life. They never have been and never will be. You look at Sonny when he was prime Sonny with Kane. All right, he's not prime Sonny anymore. Let's get that in there. But he was never a winger. He was an inside forward. And so was Brennan Johnson at Nottingham Forest. But Ange has shoehorned them in this system. Square pegs, round holes. All the normal stuff, I say. And it doesn't work. I want a manager to come in to play with basically like a game of poker. You play with the cards you got. All right, you can bluff it for a bit, but you will get found out. You know what I'm saying? You know, just play with the tools that you've got in your team. Now, our team is set up perfectly because, let's face it, all these defenders were bought for Conte, or the vast majority of them, for a 5 at the back. You know, Udogie and Porro, they're not full-backs, they're wing-backs, which is 2 completely different things. And they're certainly not midfielders, where bloody Ange gets them to play.
Okay, I'm going to rein you back in, Mark, because I need to find out.
No, what you manager, carry on. Anyway, right?
The manager that you're bringing in.
Because
we're in agreement. Are we? So we're in agreement that Ange's gone, whatever happens.
Yeah, well, I wanted him gone bloody a year ago. No, okay, but
we're both in agreement he's going, yeah?
Yes, yes.
We're both in agreement.
I'd like him sacked yesterday.
Okay, but
Iriola or the Brentford manager,
Thomas Frank.
Yeah.
And what? Okay, so you spoke a bit about Iriola. Why Thomas Frank?
Well, he's all right. Brentford are a bigger club than Bournemouth. I'm on about like financially, the size of the club, all that sort of stuff. But you know, he's got the most out of what he's got. You know, I mean, Brentford are a massive club, not like we allegedly are. You know, with the game-changing stadium and all this nonsense. You know, but he does the best with what he's got. You know, whereas Ange don't do none of that. None of it whatsoever. I said it, he's the worst manager I've ever seen at my club. And I saw us get relegated in 1977, 76, whenever it was. You know, and he is by far the worst.
So Archer says, we left White Hart Lane unbeaten at home all season with the best defensive record in the league. Game-changing stadium.
Yeah.
Mark Jones says, if our club Levy was serious, he would go for Xavi. Our young guns would get a look in and top players would want to come in.
Yeah.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Kate. I hope you're well. She says, Glasner for me, but we've got a chairman that does not support the manager. If this chairman cared about this football club, he would have sacked him last season. Mark Jones says, but remember, Our club is different animal to Bournemouth, Fulham and Palace.
Exactly.
Mark then goes on to say, Silver at Everton, he had money there. What happened? Drula is saying, does it matter who we get in? They'll just be the next victim. Archer said, I've heard Ange's compensation payout will be less if when he gets knocked out of the Europa League. I think that his compensation, I think Ange has been brought in on a 3-1. So 3 years with a year option. So it's 3 years for definite, option to have a fourth year. So this is the end of Ange's second season coming up. So therefore, the compensation package, if Tottenham relieve him of his duties, would be 5 million, because that's what he earns a year according to Company's House. So people say. So if Tottenham sack Ange, it will cost them 5 million because he has 1 year left. You don't look at the optional one because that's just optional. However, if they come to a mutual agreement and they part on mutual terms, then mutual means that you both agreed it. So then the compensation package gets agreed between both parties. That won't be far from the 5 million, in all honesty.
Just give him an Oyster card.
That won't be far from the 5 million, in all honesty. However, if Ange walks without being mutually terminated or sacked, then Ange gives up his rights to the whole 5 million package. So that's where it is with that. All right. Patriot says, Mark, hey, Ange cult will target you now. I think he's referring to when you said to me, Jose's joined the dark side. Drew Love says, Areola is not leaving Bournemouth. He's not interested in Spurs. Mark Jones says, after the Chelsea 9 Men show, I was done with him. So that's his point. Patriot says, I want a manager like Sir Alex in Tottenham. It's as simple as that. Pep is the nearest thing that we have is the nearest to Alex, Sir Alex, and we ain't getting him. Claire agrees with your point on what you said about Ange making players look inclusive. Spurs fan John says, Iraola's current deal runs out on June 26th, which is in a year's time. Bournemouth are planning to meet with him to discuss a new contract. It won't cost 12 million to buy him out of his current contract with 12 months left. As I said, John, it's not about shooting me. I'm saying, all I said, John, was what they're saying on the X Spaces. Good afternoon, Nigel. I presume you're on your lunch break or something, mate, because he says, big up chats in the chat. Much love. Smash those likes. Nigel, I hope you're well, sir. I hope you're well. Nice to see that you took place in predictions last week. Predictions show will be tomorrow. Anybody that's new around here, we do predictions. Tomorrow is just the results show for the predictions that we do on this channel and the 3 games that we play. But on Friday, all subbers, so anyone that's subscribed, on Friday, we will do our predictions for week 32. And it's fun doing predictions. So if you're interested, come and watch us Friday. I'm on at 3 o'clock because it's Good Friday, so I'm starting an hour earlier, because even though it's Good Friday, Jose still has to go and do the Lord's work and put his body on the line for 2.5 hours playing football on Friday. So I've got to start the show early so I can go and play football. Mark Jones says, Frank is too nice, brother. Another yes man. Colin B's here, says, good afternoon, Jose and guests. Good afternoon, Colin. I hope you're well. Spurs fan John says, 3+1 is correct. Claire is saying, I was too young to see the relegation, but he's an awful manager and his pressers are cringe.
I don't watch him.
Spurs fan John says, if we get knocked out of Europe and finish bottom half before gets sacked, he won't be able to claim bonuses for this season. If he goes beforehand, he can claim some of the bonuses. Jay Ashraf, it's been a while, mate. I hope you are well. He says, hi, Jose Mark. I would go for Shabby, but understand it's a risk. I haven't answered my question yet, but whilst I answer the question on the manager, I will also ask you guys and Mark to think about something I want to ask. Side Dancer says, Andrew will get 1 million and a Skywalk voucher. Patriot says he doesn't even deserve 50k, let alone 5 million. Archer says that he was done with Ange very early this season when I saw he hadn't worked on the defensive shape over the summer. And Free for All says, regardless of who comes in as manager, we desperately need a top-notch specialised number 6 is a must.
Well, we got one.
Right. So hold on.
We bought one, but he plays in defence all the bloody time. This is where Ange is clueless.
But you're talking about, yeah, but I think what he's referring to is a monster at number
Oh,
6,
yeah,
not
yeah,
just
yeah.
number 6. Right. So I'm going to give my opinion on the manager and whatever. But what I would like, Graham's just popped in. Says, afternoon, I said, Mark, hope you're both well. Just popping in and remind everyone to smash it up. Graham, I saw your message, mate, but because I'm live at the moment, I have not been able to respond. I will do so. Once I've finished on here. Right. So the question I've got for Mark to think about and everyone else in the chat is, do you think that our squad is that good? And I'm just going to leave it to you guys because I have my opinion. I have had all season long. I've had my opinion. I just want to hear your opinion, Mark, and anybody in the chat. Give us your opinion on our squad.
Do you need what now? Now, or do you want to talk about the manager?
I'm going to talk. You've answered the manager. I'm going to answer my point on the manager. And whilst I do that, I'm asking you to think about. Next one is going to be think about squad. What are your thoughts on our squad? And I ask people in the chat as well to have a think about that. Before I give my answer, may I just say to Mario, Kitty Boss, hi Jose, Mark, hope you're doing well and hopefully see you at the next protest. Let's hope they give us something tomorrow. Good afternoon, Mario. Thank you for being here. Right. So my answer on the managerial front is, as I said earlier, and I'll repeat this so people understand exactly where I'm coming from. So it might be boring to those that have heard me and it's sunk in, right? I think that there's a lot more wrong at the club than just the manager. I believe that people have to take a different piece of the pie here. So I'm going to say, for me, the players are at fault. I think the manager's at fault. I think the medical team are at fault. I think the coaches are at fault. Johan Langer is at fault. The board, including Scott Munn, is at fault. And so are the rest of the board and Daniel Levy. Everybody, for me, takes a piece of the pie. The machine doesn't turn if all the cogs ain't working. And all the cogs are definitely not working. So the machine's come to a standstill. And it's now churning out or spewing out oil. Dark matter. It's just spewing out dark matter at the moment because of things not working. For me, it's inevitable that Ange leaves. But when Ange leaves, Langer must leave as well. And so must Scott Munn. If we're going to have any chance, because at the moment, Levy ain't going nowhere. So we already know, Mark's already alluded to the fact that Levy, anyone that's coming here will have one hand tied behind their back, according to Mark, what he said earlier. But to give us the best opportunity, the best chance possible, we need to restructure at the top. And for me, people say, don't go back with your exes. On this one occasion, I disagree with that saying. And I would go back to Fabio Paratici. Because if Fabio Paratici was to come back, then Scott Munn's not needed. Fabio Paratici, when he was here before he got his ban and became a contractor for us, he sat on the directors board on the footballing side. And he brought in Gabbiadini as his DOF. So he brought Gabbiadini as the talent ID person. The person that was like Langer was Gabbiadini. And then, of course, they've got to bring in their own manager. If you believe everything that's being put out there at the moment, the people that are favoured by Fabio Paratici are Thiago Motta, Glasner, Xavi, are all high up on Paratici's list. For me, before I knew of this, I've been saying all along that these things are what I think should happen. But before I knew of all this, I turned around and I said months ago that my ideal manager would be Xavi. It's for me, it's quite clear that Xavi has got a lot to give to football. He was part of, he's been part of World Cup, European Championships, Champions League, league title, and many people throughout the world speak of him highly. He has been trained, he has been coached by some of the greatest minds in football. When Xavi first started at La Masia, there was a certain Johan Cruyff was around at Barcelona at the time. Johan Cruyff is the person that created and molded Pep Guardiola. So Xavi's been in and around the best footballing minds in football. He weren't a bad player himself, Xavi. He weren't a bad player at all either.
Or Johan Cruyff.
Yeah, no, but
They're all right.
neither was Pep, but he's been involved around all these people, and he is a top, or was a top footballer. I reckon, and Xavi's got to be 42 possibly, or something like that. I can't remember, something along them lines. And I reckon that Xavi could come out, and so could Iniesta. They could both come out of retirement and still put on a show compared to some of the football that we get to see.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, that being said, Xavi comes to the club, he'd probably be the best player in training. A bit like Glenn Hoddle used to be. Everyone said it, that Glenn Hoddle, when he retired, when Hoddle was manager of clubs, he was the best player on the pitch in training.
Swindon.
And at Chelsea they said the same, and at Tottenham they said the same. They just said he was the best player in training by a country mile, and I think Xavi would do that as well. So for me, and Xavi started out his managerial career with the youngsters. Okay, it is La Masia after all, right? But the youngsters that he started coaching, a lot of these youngsters have gone on to become first team footballers at Barcelona, because they do play their youngsters. When Xavi managed at Barcelona and he managed the first team, he brought youngsters through. Xavi left Barcelona. There was a bit of a hoo-ha between Barcelona and Xavi, and he left and he went to Saudi. I think it was Saudi or Qatar. He went to one of them, and he went there and he managed, and he's now left. He is a free agent. Xavi has proved that he doesn't need money in order to create players, right? Now,
when you said free, Jose, that is right up Daniel Levy's alley.
He's not unattached. He's not at a club.
No.
So for me, and I said this a while ago, for me, Xavi would be the ideal person. But to bring Xavi in, right, like any other club, right, you have to have a structure and a system that works. And quite brutally, at Tottenham, right, with the structure we've got, you need that person and that Doff and the manager. The three of them need to work in sync. It's a triangle, and they need to work in sync. If Ange goes, then who hired Ange? Scott Munn did. So if Ange goes, then Munn has to follow as well, and inevitably Langer will have to go as well. So for me, it's not just about the manager that we get. We need to get the right three in place. Now, I'm not too sure, and you've all got to be in sync, right? But I'm not too sure of how many people you're going to have that can fill in the role that Scott Munn does. I don't know how many Doffs are available that fill in the Langer role. And as for managers, yeah, you can have loads of managers that you can select, but the three of them need to work in tandem. The other thing I will say is there's a lot of talk, a hell of a lot of talk, that Tottenham are being sold. There's a lot of talk that Tottenham are being sold. Now, if Tottenham are being sold, then, you know, the problems that I've said at Tottenham, so the board, Mr. Levy, the board, and the three positions that I'm talking about now would absolutely get sorted, because if you had new owners come in. Would get it sorted because you wouldn't have the board that you had before, if that makes any sense. So for me, my favoured manager would be Xavi. I'm not one of these people, and you know, at the end of the day, I'm going to be me, and I say that there's a lot of managers that are in the Premiership, your Glasner, Iriola, Thomas Frank, that are all being linked with Tottenham. I don't want none of them. And my reasoning for not wanting any of them is that people say, but you need Premiership experience. What Premiership experience did Klopp have when he went to Liverpool? What Premiership experience did Guardiola have when he went to Man City? What Premiership experience did Arteta have at Arsenal? What Premiership experience did the three managers that we're being linked with at the moment have before they came to managed their clubs. The only person who had Premiership experience was Silva. If you're going to look at it, Silva's the only one with Premiership experience. So basically, you look at managers now. Iriola didn't have Premiership experience. He bought from abroad. You look at the newer managers. You look at Hertzler at Brighton. Never managed in the Premiership, has come from abroad. So why are we all set and guided that we need to get someone with Premiership experience when there's clearly a lot of talent abroad, right, that can come to our club and then put their ideas, and not scarred, put their ideas and then take us forward. And for that reason, that's why my preferred option would be Xavi. But I do caveat that with that along with Xavi, you would need to change Langer and Scott Munn. All three positions would need to change. And if it's right that Tottenham are selling, because that's the big thing going on in the background, and I think something's going on. If that is the case, because a lot of people are saying now that the CEO that we got in from Arsenal, there is rumour that it wasn't a Levy signing. There's rumours that this signing, or this was made by the people that are looking to buy Tottenham, wanted to bring this fella in. Now, that a lot Mark went like that. In an ideal world, if we want change, then this would be what we've asked for.
Well, in all fairness, Jose, right? I know you weren't talking about Levy and all that. What were we promised when this stadium was built? The game-changing stadium. We will lead us to the top. We're going to compete with the top teams. All lies. All lies. All they've done since that stadium has been open is lower the wage bill, and fill their own pockets. That stadium, was it last year or the year before when the financial results come out? £500 million and more. That bloody shiny thing brought in with all the stadiums, the NFL, whatever else goes on there, the racing. We've regressed since that stadium's been open. We've gone backwards. We were better at White Hart Lane, man. And
yeah,
you know what I mean? And no one can deny that. We have gone backwards as a team, despite virtually doubling the capacity, paying the highest season ticket prices in Europe, I believe, or maybe the world. Right? The merchandise, I don't know because I don't buy it. If I want a shirt, it comes from various other places that we won't talk about. But I certainly will not go to the club and buy a bloody shirt that's got red on it. Let's get that in there. I will not buy a home shirt that's got red on it for £100. It's not the game. It's not the game when I was certainly a lot younger. You know, and I could go to White Hart Lane, pay £1.50 and go through the turnstile. You know what I'm saying? Because that's all it was, I think. £1.50, couple of quid to get in there. Pay through the clunky turnstiles, go in and stand up. You know what I mean? And sometimes, when I was really young with the old man, I used to go in on the same thing as him, so we only had to pay for him to get in. You know what I mean? I just went in as a bonus because they couldn't see me. You know what I mean?
So the thing I will say, Mark, let's just catch up on the chat, and I'm going to respond to something you just said.
Carry on.
Before I go into the squad, right? Spurs fan John says, I've just Googled Xavi, and he's 45. He's older than I thought. A lot of Spurs fans dismissed that Luis Enrique links before he went to PSG, and we got Ange, so I'm open to Xavi. Spurs fan John also says that have seen in the chat that Munn is going to. Well, yeah, X is doing the rounds and saying that he is going. A new CEO is going to cover Munn's role. He's a CEO. Munn's a CFO. So it's just, it's semantics. It's different names for different areas. Chem says, hopefully the new manager brings his coaching staff with him too. Riquetti says, I heard he is close to the Qataris at PSG. To be fair, it's a game-changing stadium, but not on the football side. Patriots says we have the worst home record as well. White Hart Lane, we had 60% percentage win record. Someone from Tottenham away, I don't know which one of the 6 of you
Stout,
is.
I bet. Big up, Stout.
Okay, it says every single season we hear about a new director, head coach, scouting director of football, head officer, and fans get sucked in and say the same nonsense. But this is what he asked for. But this is what we asked for. No, no, no. Mark Jones says those were the days. Rinketic says hi, saying hello to Stel and hope he's well. The good old days. I paid on the door to get into the UEFA final '84. East stand, lower enclosure.
Well, I
Nothing
know Cookie was stood on the shelf. He's told me that.
Yeah, he said that. Yeah. Nothing changes with Levy and Enoch in charge. End of. Protest or accept more failure. We've already discussed. I've already discussed the fact that
I'll be there, Stel.
What change for Tottenham are doing is absolutely impressive. Gone right the right way about it, and they've marshalled everything that they've done correctly in guiding people who are going to protest on what you're going to do, what we can do, what we can't do, in order to keep it respectful and to keep the pressure up. I've already commented how good it is, and Mark has already got the old banner out behind him, the big yellow banner.
Can I get it again?
You can do it again, mate. And then you got, look at that, you got Elijah here. Big up, Jose Mark. Good afternoon, Elijah. I hope you are well. I hope you're well, mate. And yeah, great show yesterday, and nice being on with you. There we go, Mark. It's gone out of focus.
That's me bloody background, isn't it?
Yeah.
Hang on, come on, damn thing. Hang on a minute. Oh, I'm gonna have to sit down again. Where are we? 5 seconds.
There you go. He's got it. He's got it. And then Rinketic says, hasn't football become about money, though? I know a guy who gets paid like 300 sec, so like 300 euros per month to play in Division 5. 300 euros per month. Right. What I will say is back when Daniel Levy first arrived, or Enoch first arrived, and I say this, for about 15 years, we had infighting. We had Irving Scholar, and then we had Sugar. We had all the infighting that was going on. And I think that as supporters, even then, and I was a lot younger back then, even then, I felt that with all the infighting that was going on at Tottenham, this chap then suddenly appeared. The club was then bought by Enoch. This chap appeared, made his statement, and I think that a lot of what he said in his statement was dismissed at the time, by myself included. I was just hip, hooray, happy that what's happened is that our club's been bought out and finally we might see the infighting stop. But he made it clear. He made it very clear at the start that they were buying it as an entertainment franchise. They never said anything about the football. But this was totally dismissed by me and possibly many, many others because we just didn't want to see the infighting anymore.
First thing they said, Jose, was we're here to make money.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. But this was dismissed by me and probably many others because we just, we'd had enough of the Scholar and Sugar, all the infighting that was going on, and we were just happy that our club had been sold, and probably dismissed the fact, that what he'd said or what they said when they first came in, but never a truer word spoken because they've come in, and it hasn't been about the football team. I mean. No. I've gone on and said about a year ago, because I only saw them about a year ago. I don't see them anymore now. I really don't see anymore now. But about a year ago, what I used to see when I'm traveling to work on the underground and the overground stations, there was the Tottenham Hotspur experience. When you got the billboards, it had the Tottenham Hotspur experience, and it had a picture of an American footballer. I couldn't say who he was, but there was a picture of an American footballer. There was a picture of a racing driver, and there was a picture of someone, I don't know if it was a boxer or a singer or something like that. And it was all like colourful and that, but not one thing about football.
I saw him the last time I went to Bands. The Tottenham Hotspur experience
Yeah,
on
how
the
long?
tubes.
How long ago was that? It's like a yellowy and it's
Yeah,
greeny and it's got
yeah.
How long ago? Because I haven't seen them for about a year. But a year
It
ago, I
must be
remember
before then.
commenting.
Then I did see him up there, but there was nothing to do with football.
Yeah, that's right. So
Nothing
that's what I'm
whatsoever. There
saying.
wasn't.
So
I,
it did.
I
It
think
said
I
the
think
Tottenham
Harry
Hotspur.
Kane might have still been there, but there wasn't even a picture of Sonny Kane. There was nothing.
So it did
Just
have. It did have the Tottenham Hotspur experience,
yeah.
right? And at the end of the day, it's not what we want. We are all the people that are here on the show, people in the chat, we are all Tottenham Hotspur supporters. And all we want is we want the best for Tottenham Hotspur. If I'm going to have to say the whole name now, it's Tottenham Hotspur Football Club
Mm-hmm.
is what we want. And we don't want to see, I certainly don't want to see, if I'm travelling through to go to work in and out of London, I don't want to go up there and see Tottenham Hotspur experience. Mate, blast everything you want about Tottenham Hotspur Football Club, that's fine. But I just don't want to see Tottenham Hotspur experience. Now, as I said, I haven't seen this for about a year, but that's what's happened. Yes, there's going to be one. There's a lot that's been said by these people, by this company, that if you read carefully what they've said, they have no interest at all in investing in football, none whatsoever. And that's why we need, for me, it's all departments at Tottenham. And it's not just the manager. That's why I keep saying that for me, it's every department needs to be looked at.
Can I
Needs to
say?
be sorted out.
Can I say right? All this is going on. The NFL, the rugby, the boxing, the F1, the Skywalk, the bloody whatever goes on there. I don't give a monkeys. Right? How many home games do we have? 18 in the league, maybe 12 in the cups. So say 30 days. As long as the stadium's empty for them 30 home games, potentially, all right, 35, 40, whatever it may be. Right, as long as the stadium's empty for them, say 35 days, do what you want of it for the rest of the 330 odd days. It's going to be sat there not earning any money. So yes, use the stadium. Do what you like with it. If the money coming in goes to the football. Because with the monster that we have now, the Levy Bowl, there's no reason why we should not be up near the top of the league competing with our revenue, just our revenue alone. You know what I'm saying? The revenue we generate is crazy. And they've even slipped another sneaky thing in now. If you want a ticket next season, I think it finishes end of this season. Like I used to get tickets through my local supporters club, and all you had to have was a CRN number. I'm sure you've got that, Jose.
Yeah, I have, yeah.
Yeah, a CRN that you get free from the shop. Right? If you want a ticket next year, for someone who's a season ticket to be able to transfer you their ticket, you've got to be a One Hotspur member. So there's another 50 quid you've got to pay that you might not get a ticket from. It's crazy. The amount of money that they fleece out at people and we get literally nothing for it is crazy. It's like I said, that stadium, do what you like with it when we're not there. Give it the 30 games, 40 days, whatever it is when we're at home. Yes, you obviously got to use it as a football stadium. For the rest of the 300 odd days, do what you like with it. Have Beyonce there. Have whoever else is going now. Adele's meant to be going there or something. The boxing's there. Is it this weekend? The boxing?
The following.
Well, whenever it is, it's soon.
Yeah, I think it might be the following weekend. I think I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's Eubank, isn't it?
Yeah, Eubank Ben. That's right. Yeah.
Put it this way: if I happen to sneak BBC One on and there's rugby on the telly, unless it's England or something, like if there's a rugby game, it's always at Tottenham Stadium.
Yes, next weekend, Dan saying the 20, and Mark saying the 26th. Right.
Yeah.
I'm going to move it on because I asked you to think about and asked the chat to think about.
Yeah, we got to finish by 2, and it Ben's on at 2.
Yeah, our squad. I didn't realise Kate was on, but Kate is on as well, Kate and Jim. I didn't realise. When I looked, I didn't see anybody on, so that's why I came on and did the show at 12 o'clock, so I didn't see anyone on. Right, squad-wise, Mark, tell me what your thoughts are about the squad. People in the chat, what are your thoughts on our squad? I mean, I've got my own thoughts, and I will finish off with my thoughts, but I'm going to ask Mark for his. Tell me in the chat what I thought your thoughts on the squad. If I go back a second, though, Mark, you did have people here that put down something about the squad. Some people said, Side Dancer says, if in the right system, this team would be top 10 with the squad. Mark Jones then said, we're not 17th worst squad, that much I know. Let's Dragon Guy says, I think the squad is decent with a huge asterisk. I still feel some of the players just don't turn up for games. Spurs fan John says, the squad is better than when we are seeing, but is it top 4? Probably not. Right. So, Mark, your thoughts on the squad, please.
Now, whoever it was, nick my answer. We're certainly not the 15th. We're certainly not the 15th worst squad, wherever we are. But, I think we did it on our show. We put us somewhere between 5th and 7th in the because have we got a better squad than Liverpool? No. Arsenal? No. City? No. Chelsea? No. Me personally, I believe we're sort of like Aston Villa, Newcastle, that sort of area. They might have slightly, but there's not a lot in the squads. There's not a lot between us, Villa, and Newcastle. For all the money that we've spent and whatever. The trouble is, at the moment, we're not using the tools, or the manager, who I've wanted gone for ages. The manager is not using the tools that he's got properly. Right, so, but then again, you get a decent manager. Look at what Pochettino did for us. He got us top. He overachieved nearly every season. All you want is a manager that plays with a system and gets a belief in the club. I believe with this squad, we could possibly get top 4. Possibly. I said, not definitely. Definitely, so it's going to be somewhere between 5th and 7th, I'd say. Somewhere between 5th and 7th where we should be. But if we got a decent manager that overachieved, then top 4 could be a possibility. But it's just the clown that we got at the moment being our manager. He doesn't, to me, you look at what happened on Sunday. I think the players will stop playing for him. I don't think they're interested anymore. And that is my honest views. I honestly think a lot of them have checked out already. They know the manager's going, and they think, what's the point? What's the point? We're 15th. What have we got to play for? Because we haven't. We're not doing jack in the league. Well, what's the highest we can finish? About 12? And that's unacceptable for a club our size. But that'd be a bloody miracle if we actually got to 12. So that's my opinion. Did you hear all that, Jose? Sorry, I keep calling you Jose. You're on mute.
Yeah, sorry, I did. I just don't think I got an answer, but I did hear what you said.
No, that's all right, man.
You've got Colin B says Scott Parker could be a shout, doing wonders at Burnley. Free for all says bang average, top 6 at best. Mark Jones says 5th and 7th.
Yeah.
7th. Claire G says
Claire
G says she likes Newcastle's midfield. Luke says big up to you, Mark. Bang on, mate. 5th to 7th.
Yeah.
Archer says Newcastle midfield is powerful. Tonali, Bruno, Gigi, Linton. Ours is powder puff, as Jose might say. Mark Jones says, well said. That dick of a manager. Why we question this squad? He is so bad.
Yeah.
Claire G says our middle is too lightweight. And Mario says, just need to keep protesting. It's the only way.
Yeah.
What I mean, what I will say, for me, I don't know where the hype with the squad comes. I really don't. I'm not. I think that, yeah, we got a top 10 squad, but I think we're nowhere near fourth and fifth. I don't think we're nowhere. I think we're miles off it. I really do think we're miles off it. I look at different systems, right? And this is only a personal opinion, so please don't shoot. We've all got opinions. I've read out your opinions, and whether I agree or disagree, it's your opinions, and I've read your opinions out. Mark said his opinion, and for me, I just look at our players, and I think to myself, for the players in the squad that we've got at the moment, so without buying any other players, what we have at the moment, I think to myself, what would that team look like in a 4-4-2? And what people would I pick in a 4-4-2? What would that team look like in a 3-5-2? And who would I pick out of the players we currently have? If I looked at a 5-3-2, who would I currently pick and what I have? We have got so many players. I mean, I look at the people that we've got playing up top, right? So if I was to play a 4-5, if you play a 5-3-2 or a 3-5-2, everyone's going to say that your wing backs need to be either Porro, a Doggy, or Spence, because they are natural wing backs. They're not full backs, they're natural wing backs, right? Then that leaves you two spaces up front, right? Now, for the forwards, we've got Solanke, Richarlison, Son, Johnson, Odebert, Tell, Werner, Mikey Moore. Right? I'm looking at all them and I'm thinking to myself, if you were playing in a 3-5-2 or a 5-3-2 or whatever, who's your two forwards? And I'm thinking to myself, out of that, who's the two forwards? Then when you look at the midfield and you have to play a midfield three, to three along the middle, if we're saying that we're really light in the midfield at the moment, then what three players are you going to put into a midfield if you change your system about, if a manager came in and had to change the system about? So for me, I don't care what manager comes in. At the moment, I don't believe our squad are anywhere near 5th and 7th for me at the moment. I just look at it and think to myself, we haven't got that good a squad. I can't lie. I said at the start of the season that I felt that we were 5 first-team players light. So therefore, the squad that we've got at the moment doesn't fill me with glee that it could do any better. If we were going into next season with a new manager and the same
Hello.
squad,
Well, what do you want?
all right. So yeah, for me, it doesn't fill me with much glee if we had the same squad that we've got at the moment playing next season. I think that we need surgery, man. I think we need to get rid of some players and we need to bring other players in, and at the end of the day, go from there. You've got Luke, you've got Archer says our squad suits a 3-4-3 or a 3-4-2-1. Okay, Archer, who do you pick in a 3-4-2-1? Who do you pick? I think we've got so many options and don't fit any of the molds that we've got up front in the top, in the front seven I've just said. And I didn't even include Kulu there. Even if I drop Kulu back to midfield, I can't see, with the players in the squad that we've got, I can't see how even changing the system makes us a better team, because I think our players are just not good enough for what we want to achieve. If our aspiration is, right, and it sounds old school, but if our aspiration is to finish in the top 4 every year, then I don't think we've got a squad to do it. Even at the moment, even bringing new managers in, I don't believe we've got a squad to do it. For me, we're probably top 10 at best. I think there's surgery that needs to be done. And like I said, when I blame things on the club, part of the blame I put on the players as well. So I've blamed the manager, the players. I've always included the players in there. You need the right players. You need the right mentality from the players. You need the right leadership, and I just don't think the ingredients are there at the moment to be what we want Tottenham to be. Look, I want to win the league. I want to win the league. I want to do absolutely everything. I want to win every trophy that God can give us on this earth. But, you know, and I'm not the same as in the next fan, but I just can't see it with the squad that we've got. Spotlight, Luke says, for him, it's Vic. So he's going for a 5 at a 3-5-2 or a 5-3-2. He says you got Vic, Porro, Romero, Danso, VDV, Udogie, with Bentancur, Bergvall, Madders, and then Kulu and Solanke. Overrunning midfield is what I'll say straight away. We'll get overrun in midfield with that. And it's funny. It's funny that we played one game, one half. Who did we play? Was it Fulham? We played one half where we played a 5-3-2 or a 3-5-2, and we got absolutely rinsed. And he changed it at half time, didn't he? And I think that was the game.
Until we
Everton. Sorry, Luke, you're right. Archer, you're right.
Start playing.
Claire, you're right.
Start buying players for the first team. You know, it's all right bringing in Archie Gray and Bergvall. Are they going to be fantastic players? Yes, they probably will. Are they ready now? They've had a year's experience, you know, but were they ready for us at the time? No. The likes of your Archie Grays and Bergvalls, they should have been additional signings to what we brought in as well. You know what I'm saying? You know, so when you bring these players in, you've got the experience as well.
Yeah.
You know, if you're going to bring players in, just don't bring a load of kids in. You know, you need experience in. Now, that's what we lack, is experience with the know-how, you know, to manage games. We don't do that either. We play one way. It's that way or the highway. You know, because you look at the game against Brighton. What was it? 2-0 up at half-time? Crumbled in the second half, and they come back and beat us. That's unforgivable, in my opinion. Unforgivable. You know, if we had leaders in there, that's another thing. We got no leaders. Yeah, Son's experience. Is he a leader? No, he's not even a captain. That's my honest opinion. Sonny's too nice to be a captain. You know, you want someone with a bit of grit that if you're not doing your job, is going to give you a kick at the backside. You know, I'm sure you're captain on a Friday night, Jose. If you're not doing what you're meant to do, you know, you get a kick at the backside.
If I said to you that I'm the one who's the loudest and the most vociferous one on the football pitch, would you believe me?
Yeah, of course.
Because I bloody well am. It doesn't matter. You know Jose, you've played with Jose, and you know that Jose's been playing when I'm on the pitch on a Monday, Wednesday.
But that's what you need.
You need for everyone.
But that's what you need. You need people shouting at you.
It's my escape. It's my escape. Football's my escape. And I go
and I
give it to everybody.
You need people shouting at you. Not shouting at you in a bad way. But, you know, if you do make a mistake, oh, come on, you bloody whatever. You know, you can do better than that. You know what I mean? Sonny doesn't do that to me. Yes, I love Sonny. He's a great player. Been a great servant for us. But he's not a captain. I'm sorry, but he's not. You know, the great captains are, well, the first captain I think about when you think of captains is Steve Perriman. You know, that was a leader. Someone like Graham Roberts. You don't want to get on the wrong side of him. Jesus. You imagine having an argument with Graham Roberts when he was captain. He'd probably bite your ear off.
Well, I'm just going to take a couple of these comments because then I've got to redirect them for Ben. Claire G says, we need some seasoned pros, not just kids.
Yeah.
Luke says, our major issues are right wing and the 6. Who is the monster 6 for Liverpool? Just saying, some of these teams don't need monster 6. It's just you've got 3 players in midfield that all do the jobs correctly and know each other and have each other's backs. You know, I don't see monster 6s, but I do agree that we do need probably better than what we've got in midfield.
Playing a system that protects a back four would be a start.
Mark Jones says, thanks, guys. See you later. Bless up. Thank you, Mark. Archer says, Porro, Spencer and the Doggy are definitely wing-backs. And someone's going to turn around and say, someone did turn around and say that we played the match without our fit centre half. Someone did put a comment, right? Archer did, says, but Ange did what we had with all our main centre backs injured. Okay, Archer, I understand your comment, but then what I will say, Archer, is that Porro, Spence, and Udogie were bought from other clubs playing at wing back. So Porro was a wing back for Sporting Lisbon. Spence played wing back for Middlesbrough, and we bought him on the back of his appearances. And Udogie definitely played wing back for Udinese, right? So, okay, we didn't have the right centre halves there, but the two of these three that played in the wing back positions against Everton, they looked anything but wing backs. And that's their positions that they've played all their life until they came to Tottenham. And when they played against Everton, they didn't even look like wing backs.
That's the way they cook.
AK Gaming Zone says, we are shit. Simple as is what he says. Claire G says, Toby and Yam were leaders.
Yeah.
Dan is saying it to me, Jose, I've not said my thoughts about the squad, but I remember having a chat with you about a year ago about players like Bentancur, and I said that weren't good enough, and you disagreed. This is on Ange as well, and I still disagree, Daniel, because I think Bentancur offers far more than some of the other midfielders we've got at the club. So if I had to get rid of players, Bentancur would not be in the first two on my list that I would be getting rid of. So, and that's just my opinion, mate. You know, you got yours and I've got mine. I think Bentancur can offer a lot more than some of the other midfielders that we've got. But like I said, it's opinion. Claire G says, we need a Roy Keane. AK Gaming Zone says, see Tottenham only losing to Newcastle project is doing great. Archer says, those hard as nails characters are common in the game, unfortunately. Mario saying to you, Mark, these captains don't exist anymore, but agree Sonny is not a captain and need a proper biter in there. We just don't have it.
Yeah.
Claire G says they were bought for Conte's system.
Yeah, they were.
And she's saying get rid of Biss. Well, Biss would be number one on my midfield list, to be honest with you, Claire, but that I have another midfielder that I'd be getting rid of as well, who I don't rate personally.
With Biss, though.
I just think he's got an engine, and that's it.
Yeah.
The other player that I'm thinking of.
With Biss, though,
then I don't see if he turns up to games. Sorry, Mark, go on.
Look at Biss for Brighton, though, and look at what we've turned him into. But you just don't turn into a terrible player overnight. You know,
Mark, I live down on the south coast, and I
know you do.
Brighton boys all the time, and they all say to me, even when we bought him at the time, they said to me, right, he doesn't turn up in every game for us because his head's elsewhere. Is what they used to take. They used to say it to me. His head's elsewhere. If he gets his head into the game, right, he could be a really good footballer. Because when he turns up, he turns up. They were telling me this before when we signed him. You know, they were gutted that he'd left, but they were saying to me he didn't turn up every game. So, and that's your Brighton supporters. Right, just you got Bentancur has mostly been shocking, says Archer, and Daniel says Jose's getting rid of Sarr as well. And Luke says Biss was poor under Conte too. Right, I'm redirecting everyone to Ben's because Ben's just started. Can you go in and hashtag LTEL Raid for me, please, and show Ben some love? I need to thank Ben, who was here earlier, member for 5 months badge. Shem Tam flashing his 4-month badge, and Peter Kagayas for gifting out 15 channel memberships. Thank you very much for joining us today. Mark, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.
No worries, mate.
Sorry, just before, could you want to put your link in and tell everyone what time you're going on tonight, mate, so we can get some people over to you tonight?
Oh, I've got bloody rid of it now. Oh, have I?
Have you?
No, I haven't. No.
Right, so Mark's going to let you know.
Right, we are on at 8 o'clock tonight. We got a show at 8 o'clock going through the Wolves nonsense that obviously went on, and previewing the Frankfurt game tomorrow. I'm just about to put my link in. Is that it? I think so.
There you go. So there's Mark there. Look. So
if you want to come over and show us some love, we're slowly tiptoeing our way towards 500.
And like I said during the show, it's hard for every content creator. And like I said earlier, is it even if you don't watch the content, just subscribing to the guys. It's nice if you watch the content as well, don't get me wrong, but even if you don't, just subscribe to everyone. Everybody is doing it for a reason. Everybody's trying to get somewhere. And I believe that anybody that puts work and effort into it should get to 1,000 subs. And I say that for everybody. It doesn't matter what your streams are about, whatever you do. The fact that you put your head over the parapet and you're trying it and you do try and get out there, then everyone should meet the YouTube partnership as a given. So help everyone. Mark and the Sheriff are on the way to 500. But then as soon as they get past that, they're on their way to 1,000. Just help everyone. So please, respect everybody. Mark, thank you very much for coming on.
No worries, mate.
It's been a pleasure having you on. And what I will say is, I'm going to redirect. So go over to Ben and give him hashtag #LTelRay, please, to show the love for him. And as always, for me, it's come on, you Spurs.
Yeah, come on, you Spurs.
Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.